didn't send you any flowers, I promise you.
Come on, Harold, it had to be you.
Now, why in the world would I have sent them to Kingsley General? Didn't Terry Davidson say they tried to deliver them there first?
Yeah, but a real secret admirer might try to do that to sort of throw me off the track.
Not this one. I would have just handed the flowers to you.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Hey, what about the card? On the back of the card, maybe there's something there.
No, just the name. I checked that. Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
If Ronnie Washington's on your mind, I am.
How about this? This is Levy and Cross, Mores and Morals. That's my sociology class.
Seems interesting.
Yeah, well, so far it's just been boring. Now this one is Brenner's Modern Psychology, my favorite subject.
Oh, you know, Jeff's taking a psych course, too. He's already written his first paper.
Yeah? Now mine's due in 2 weeks. What do you do his on?
Guilt and its effect on the subconscious.
Say, maybe you could use that topic, since you haven't decided what you want to use yet.
Yeah, well, we're supposed to do it on experimental psychology.
Oh, that's too bad, because he really did well on it. In fact, he submitted it to one of the Bible school publications.
Lori always did well on her papers, too.
Yeah, I remember. She used to let me read some of them.
Thank the Lord she's beginning to come out of that withdrawal.
She is? You heard from her?
Well, not from her, but from Ben. What, didn't you read the note I left on the refrigerator last night?
The note. I forgot. You told me to put it on the refrigerator door, and I left it by the phone. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Mom, what about Lori?
Well, Ben called from Mercy Hospital yesterday. Lori is starting to show some signs of communicating.
Oh, that's great.
Well, it's only slight progress. I mean, considering she hasn't spoken to anyone since the night Ben found her at the school. But the doctors are hopeful.
And so are we.
Will Ben say when he's coming back?
Not until Lori has completely pulled out of the withdrawal. Then he will schedule the secondary surgery on his hand.
Who knows? Maybe I'll see them both back here in Kingsley before I leave.
Yeah, now that would be some kind of homecoming.
Looks like my old shadow Lance is finally catching up with me.
Lance? You think he's the one that sent the flowers?
Well, Ronnie says jump and he says how high.
Boy, they sure got some unusual way of showing affection for you, don't they?
Kind of like letting me smell the flowers before my funeral.
Yeah. Darn it. Now we gotta find some other way to keep you out of sight.
Maybe we could ask the Invisible Man how he did his.
Oh, but Babs, this isn't the kind of...
I can take care of Babs. But I don't like the idea of Ione and Miriam dodging bullets. Now, if Ronnie knows where I live, then it's time for me to move on.
Just wait for a second. We may be getting worked up over nothing. I think the first thing we better do is check and see if Ronnie really sent those flowers.
Well, pardon me if I don't call and ask him.
Well, we can sure call the florist and see.
Oh, excuse us.
Oh, Miriam, it's Carpenter.
Babs, you weren't at your desk. Some mother and I just decided to walk in. Oh, let me introduce you, Babs. This is my mother, Helen Carpenter.
Well, Mrs. Carpenter, I've heard a lot about you. I'm very pleased to meet you.
Thank you.
I'll get back to my post.
Harold, excuse us for dropping in unannounced.
No problem at all. Please have a seat.
Thank you.
I, don't have any appointments till later this afternoon anyway. Oh, Charles, it's not...
No, he's still in intensive care. Oh, in fact, we saw him before we came here.
We've come on a matter that needs immediate attention.
Right, since Daddy's in no condition to take care of it himself.
How can I help?
We want Nancy Lawson removed from our home.
You don't beat around the bush, do you?
Well, since I've been on my own, Harold, I've been forced to be more decisive.
You know, I think that's good.
Now, the house still belongs to us, doesn't it?
Oh, sure. as long as your mother legally remains Miss Charles Carpenter, it does. As you know, Charles filed for divorce before, but the decree never became final.
Thanks to your intervention.
Well, Charles and I don't see eye to eye on a lot of things, but I've been too involved with his family to let somebody as low down as Nancy Lawson come walking in off the street and get it all.
Well, I'm very grateful that you came to me, Harold, because I am still Charles' wife, if only now for his protection.
For all our protection. I'm going to suggest that you file a trespassing charge against Nancy Lawson with the Kingsley police. And you might ask for Sergeant Brubaker. He's pretty familiar with her tactics.
Well, why can't we just order her to go?
Oh, you can. But, well, if you file a trespassing charge, the ultimate responsibility for eviction lies with the police officer in case you have some kind of trouble with her. Terry Davidson used that procedure when she evicted Nancy from their mother's house.
You know, I've never understood you, Harold. You know, I knew nothing about your business ventures with Charles, but let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Now, why are you trying to help us? You were the attorney my husband hired to handle the divorce.
Well, it's because the way I see it, as Charles' attorney, my responsibility to him is to look out for his best interests. Nancy Lawson didn't one of them.
See, Mother, I told you he'd help us.
Yes, you did, dear.
Hey, you know what? I gotta run. Bye-bye, Mom.
Bye-bye, honey.
Bye, Liz.
Bye.
Hey, it's good to have you.
Oh, thank you. It's nice to be here. Have a good day.
Okay. See you tonight at dinner.
Okay, bye-bye. Have a good day.
Thinking about dinner already. I see.
Already?
What are we having?
Goodbye, Peter.
Oh, he's really excited about starting college, isn't he?
Very. I mean, I'm as excited as he is.
Well, I know the feeling. You know, Jeff is just about as bad as Jenny. Every day when he comes home, he shows me everything that he did in class.
Is Jenny adjusting well?
Oh, yes. My parents bought her a new bike. So between that and her new friend, she doesn't have time to miss Kingsley.
Well, I miss her.
Oh, I'll tell her when I get back.
I guess I don't have to ask if you're happy.
Oh. Well, what's that verse? Thou wilt show me the path of life. In thy presence is fullness of joy.
With thy right hand there are pleasures forevermore.
Mm-hmm. Well, Jeff and I really know that we're in the Lord's hands, even on those rainy days. And believe me, that makes all the difference in the world.
Oh, it's so good to hear you talking like this.
Well, you taught me that, you and Scott.
You know, Liz, he's still very much a part of my life.
You think about him a lot, don't you?
No other man can ever mean as much to me as he did.
I can understand that. At least I think I can, loving Jeff the way I do. But you mustn't let your feelings for Scott stop you from letting someone new come into your life, Terry.
Oh, I tried, Liz. I really did try. I just wasn't ready.
But what about Jason Prescott? He certainly wasn't hiding his feelings for you before I left Kingsley.
Nor Alex either. Well, Jason is in North Carolina. He's building another mall. I finally told him that I wasn't the one for him.
Did he understand?
Not exactly.
And Alex?
We go out to eat occasionally. You know, they are still very dear friends of mine, but that's all that they will ever be, all they can be.
Terry, how do you deal with the loneliness?
I think about Scott.
But doesn't thinking about him make you even lonelier?
Yeah, it does. Sometimes it's so unbearable, but I just can't help myself. Liz, people just don't seem to understand. You can't erase 20 years of the best part of your life in less than a year. There are thoughts and memories, loneliness, that just don't leave you.
Yeah, that's right, Sergeant. They ought to be over there just any time now. Okay, I appreciate it. Yeah, thanks. Brubaker. Hey, 10-4.
The last time I saw Miriam grin like that was when Ione showed her how to make homemade bread rise.
Yeah, well, she's got a whole lot more to smile about this morning than bread rising.
Oh, yeah? Did she get a letter from her kid from England?
No, not as far as I know. I think she's still waiting for that. No, she and Mrs. Carpenter are reclaiming their house.
No kidding. You mean they're gonna kick Nancy out?
Just as quick as they file a trespassing charge against her.
Oh, would I love to be in on that action, especially the kicking out part.
You just stay put. Nancy will get what's coming to her. Everybody does, sooner or later.
Yeah, only I usually get it sooner rather than later.
Babs, there is a whole lot of difference between you and Nancy Lawson.
Sure. Nancy made her living off one man, while I, on the other hand, made mine off hundreds.
Oh, Babs, would you stop doing that to yourself? Look, can't you just forget about the past? Just let it rest.
Well, how can I when it keeps following me around? I mean, you know what I am, Harold.
I know what you were, as opposed to what you are now, secretary.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah.
You know, I almost escaped from Ronnie once before.
Yeah? What stopped you then?
Oh, this guy. His name was Buddy. He used to come visit me twice a week, regular as clockwork. He always wanted to talk first. Not about him, but about me. I mean, you name a subject and he wanted my opinion on it, how I felt about it. Nobody ever treated me like that before. It made me feel important.
Sounds like he cared about you.
Yeah, I thought so too. Till I caught him over on 34th Street one morning with some redhead. She was latched onto his arm like a tick. Boy, did I feel like a fool. And you should have seen the way he looked at me. Like I didn't belong out in the daylight or something.
Hey. You know, I've been on the losing end before, too.
Sure you have, Webster.
I have. You ask any one of my two ex-wives.
Well, at least they thought enough of you to go to the altar.
Fat lot of good that did me.
You'd do it again, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Probably.
Well, it's like I said, those old habits are hard to break, aren't they?
You should have known. You're always the one doing all the work around here.
Oh, Vicky's out at the city council meeting, but she'll be back soon.
Well, I didn't come by to see Vicky.
Oh, the building permits, haven't they been delivered yet?
No, I didn't come by for any building permits. I came by to see you.
Oh, excuse me, I'm quite busy trying to proofread the surveyor's
Miriam.
report.
Listen, I've been thinking a lot about you, and I just can't get you off my mind. I'm trying to...
Page 3 is here somewhere, but
Miriam, I need to talk to you about, well, how's your father doing?
Daddy's, thank you, he's recovering. He's still on the
good.
critical list, and they told me they're going to have to do some bypass surgery.
Oh, that's... my aunt had a heart attack a couple years ago, and I'll tell you, she's doing great. I mean, out jogging, playing tennis.
Really? Well, Daddy never really had time for exercising, but as soon as he gets home, Mother and I are going to see to it that he takes better care of himself.
Your mom lives in Kingsley?
Well, she's been staying in Canada, but she is back now.
Oh, well, great. Oh, did you hear about the mayor? Canceled all his public appearances because of what happened.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Well, I'm actually glad the event turned out the way it did.
Oh, come on. You gotta be kidding.
Well, of course, not about Daddy's heart failure. But see, the Hollister Mall was the catalyst that the Lord really used to clear up a lot of complications. Finally.
The Lord used. I don't know. You're not one of those, are you?
One of what?
You know, the... Miriam, I get a lot of Sunday school talk from my sister at home.
Do you ever
so it's
listen to those talks? It might help, you know.
No, I don't. It's just not my language, see.
What do you mean it's not your language? What is your language?
Well, what do you say you go out with me and I'll teach it to you? Hmm?
Charles, is this you? No, this is not Rita. Well, I don't care what number she gave you. Charles might still call me. I know you love me, Charles. I mean, you don't care about Miriam or Helen or whoever else. It's me you love, really. You told me that yourself.
Nancy,
Hi, Charles.
how are you feeling?
Well, as well as can be expected under the circumstances. But you know, you really have to do something about Miriam. I just cannot take another one of her scenes.
Well, she certainly seemed rational enough to me in Harold's office.
You should have seen her here. She was ranting and raving like a lunatic. We should have had her committed.
Nancy, we've already been through all that.
Yeah, but the crazy thing she was saying, Charles.
That she saw you standing up?
Yeah, but you don't believe her, do you?
No, no. But she must have seen something. Now, was there anybody else here when it happened, other than Tab?
No, but Charles, look, that's the way it is with her. I'm sure that she's convinced that she saw me walking around. I mean, those things are as real to them as you are to me. But she's still hallucinating.
She was very, very insistent.
Well, are you surprised she's having another breakdown? I mean, living with some old black woman and a common prostitute, what do you expect?
Well, you're probably right.
What do you mean, probably? Are you going to side with them against me? Charles, send Helen back from wherever she came from. She had her turn, and now it's my turn.
Well, how about it? I mean, I know you're not doing anything tonight, so...
I am going to the hospital to see my father.
Oh, yeah.
So why don't you ask Vicky out? She told me earlier she didn't have any plans for tonight.
Neither do I, with her.
I'm certain there are plenty of other girls you can ask.
Yeah, but I'd like to go out with you, no one else.
I don't like where this whole conversation is leading.
Miriam, you know, I don't mean to get you all, you know...
I'm sorry. Look, I just don't like the idea of dating. It's the last thing on my mind when Daddy's in the hospital.
You know, you make me wish like I was a patient at the hospital with all this time you're spending there, you know?
Oh, come on, Gil. Now you've done it. That is going too far.
Okay. Sorry. I hope your father gets better.
Thank you.
Really, I mean that.
Miriam, I brought you a seat.
Hi, Vicky. You're back. The meeting's out early?
I left after the members went to a closed session.
Yeah, so what do you have here?
Oh, I brought you a sandwich. You said you skipped breakfast.
Oh, great. Thanks for thinking of me.
Hello, Gil.
Hi, Vicky.
Are you here on business?
I sure am.
I mean company business, you know, because if you're not, you will have to leave.
No, Vicky, Gil just dropped by to see about...
See, Miriam.
Did you finish the proofreading?
Almost.
Well, I need it now because I have to take it to the surveyor.
I'll do it for you.
Miriam, you don't have to do that. It's not your job.
Okay, Vicky, I know what you must be thinking about Gil and me, and...
Gil and you? Oh, is that the way it is now?
No, that's not the way it is. See, I wish you'd just give me a chance to try to explain why he was really here.
He already told me.
Well, he just said enough to mislead you. You know how Gil is.
Apparently not as well as you do.
Oh, no, Vicky, there's nothing going on between us.
Well,
You know.
Ione, please sit down.
Oh, certainly.
So, Ione, tell me about you. I hear you won an award.
Oh, how'd you hear that?
Oh, a friend told her, a friend who knew that you would be too modest to tell her yourself.
I think her friend knows me too well.
Oh, well, I'm very proud of you. Kingsley's Volunteer Leader of the Year.
I can't count the number of volunteer programs she's involved with, and I mean, she really works.
Oh, well, you know, I tend to think that that's what we're here for, to help out whenever we can and wherever we can.
Oh, your family must have been just thrilled.
Well, thrilled, I don't know, with Carl and Jimmy and Lake Tahoe and Jean, oh.
How is he? He hasn't dropped by for a long time.
Terry, I think he might go back into the news business.
You mean television?
No, the newspaper. Leon has his friend at the Chronicle, and Jean's going to talk to him about a job there.
Oh, Ione, that's wonderful.
Oh, excuse me, the water's ready.
You know, Jean just hates to admit that he's awfully excited about that news job again. I tell you.
You know, I thought about majoring in journalism once when I was in college, but that's all it amounted to, just a thought.
Oh, Jean always had a special way with words on paper, even as a child, and long before he started with that TV station, WRD.
Oh, I still remember some of the commentaries he did there with Scott. What a good team they were.
Oh, yes, only the good Lord could put those two together. Oh, yes, Jean always had great respect for Scott.
I think what probably steered me away from journalism was the fact that it demands so much time.
Oh, yes, Jean would be there to all hours of the night, you know, back and forth. But you know something? He loved every minute of it.
Terry, could you use some help with the tea?
No thanks, Liz. I can handle it.
You two, what are you doing here?
We've come to reclaim our home, Miss Lawson.
You can't come in here. This is my house.
I'm afraid you're mistaken, Miss Lawson. This house happens to belong to Mr. and Mrs. Charles Carpenter, whom I happen legally to be.
Oh, yeah? Well, I don't believe you.
Sergeant Brubaker's already on his way, so if you'd go ahead and leave, you'd just save him the trouble of throwing you out.
Charles told me that I could stay here as long as I like.
And I say you can't.